Well, now, I guess you know what I meant when I said that Texaco's got a real knack for getting up ads that put over a story. But what about radio? Well, I tell you nothing new when I remind you that Texaco's got Fred Allen this year. So, when it comes to radio advertising, brother, there's no sweeter sound comes to me in my neighborhood than...
The Texaco Star Fifth. The more than 45,000 Texaco dealers from coast to coast welcome you to an hour of mirth and melody. With our star comedian, Fred Allen, Kenny Baker, and Portland Hoffa. It's Texaco time.
Ladies and gentlemen, there is a doctor in the house. A physician who, without anesthetic, sets your funny bone, tickles your ribs, and splits your sides. And here he is, that intern of interntainment, Fred Allen, in person.
Thank you, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Say, Jimmy, why does this program always have to open with such an elaborate announcement for me? Now, I don't need all of that billing. Just mention my initials, that's plenty. We can save all that time.
Yes, but Fred, we've got to make the opening impressive.
Whom are we impressing, Jimmy? Now, let's get the show started. That's the main thing. You know, if we have a long opening, we have to rush everything at the end of the program to get it all in. Now, last week, you remember at the end of the show, why I was talking so fast, I got 20 Lucky Strike fan letters. People thought I was a tobacco auctioneer.
Well, maybe we can open the show like the president opens a new highway or tunnel or dam.
Well, how does he do that, Jimmy?
Well, he just pushes a button on his desk.
Well, that may be a little quicker, James, but it is also a little more dangerous.
Dangerous? How do you mean?
Well, last week, the president was supposed to open a bridge in Salt Lake City. He pushed the wrong button and opened 2 Republicans in the Mayo Clinic.
But Fred, how could that...
Now, never mind the explanations, James. Let's get on with the show. And now, ladies and gentlemen...
Hi, F.A., what's perking?
Well, everything is perking but the program, Kenny. I'm trying to get things started now. You know, we've got newsreels tonight, guest stars, music. Oh, by the way, while I think of it, Kenny, I have been watching you lately. Do you have to keep playing with that yo-yo all through the program every night? You know, if I have to keep looking up and down following that yo-yo any longer, I'll have to get my eyes moth-fagged.
Well, confidentially, Fred, yo-yos are for little kids.
Well, what were you doing with that one tonight? Were you breaking it in for baby Sandy?
No, with me, it's a business.
Oh, you've got a yo-yo tie-up?
And how? The biggest yo-yo company in the country is letting me use this yo-yo. If I mention it on the show every week for a year...
Yes?
The yo-yo's mine.
Kenny, look, you are no longer with Mr. Benny. Now, you don't need any sidelines here on this program. We are paying the living wage. So I tell you what you do. You get that yo-yo off the premises. Put it back in your Boy Scout kit or something.
Oh, but I'm practicing a terrific trick, F.A.
A trick with the yo-yo?
Yes. I jump in the air,
Yeah.
click my heels, and whirl the yo-yo around my ankles.
You do?
Oh, wait till I show it to you. It's wonderful.
Well, now, look, Kenny.
Oh, this'll kill you, F.A. Now, I'll get up on the bandstand here.
Now, wait a minute, Kenny. I don't care to see the trick. You know, this isn't Hell's-a-Poppin'.
Here I go, F.A. Watch.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm sorry to have to announce that the tenor who was scheduled to appear with us on the program this evening will not be able to appear. While the damage to the studio is being repaired,
Mr.
I'm
Allen.
afraid... what is it, Portland?
There's a man outside who says
Well,
he wants...
not now, I'm sorry.
But, Mr. Allen...
Well, can't you see I'm busy? Tell the gentleman to come back later. Now, ladies and
But,
gentlemen...
Mr. Allen, this man says he's our sponsor.
One man, our sponsor? Well, that's impossible. Our sponsors are more than 45,000 Texaco dealers.
That's me, Fred, and all them fellers out there.
There are 45,000 of them out there? Well, I'll have to count them later. Well, I'm very happy to meet you, sir, Mr. Dealer, and thanks a lot for dropping in.
Well, Fred, I just wanted to meet you personally and tell you what a swell job you're doing for me.
Well, I'm glad you feel that way, sir. But I'm working for more than 45,000 men like you. How is it you feel so deeply? You know, I mean as though I'm doing it all just for you.
It's like this, Fred. You see, a feller like me, well, I'm always doing a lot of things to make Texaco mean just me to the folks in my neighborhood. And so everything that you do under the Texaco sponsorship to make the lives of those people more enjoyable, well, that makes them like me more. And all that you and Larry Elliott and Jimmy Warlington say about Texaco products and services, well, that just means that much more profit coming in for me and my family. So that's why it's personal in my gratitude.
Well, thank you a lot, sir. I tell you what, you just keep pumping your gas at the Texaco service stations. I'll try to do the best I can with my gas here at the broadcasting station, and I'm sure everything will be all right.
He's a great fellow, all right. Yes, sir. The Texas Company folks sure give us a breadwinner when they turn him loose in our neighborhoods for us every week. And on top of that, darned if they don't go and sponsor the biggest serious musical program on the air, the big Metropolitan Opera series, with a lineup of guest speakers to talk on the American way that includes some of the finest people in America. Why, there's folks around my neighborhood that would rather have missed a meal than to have missed the Metropolitan Opera broadcast on Saturday afternoons. Maybe you wonder what I meant when I talked to Fred Allen like that about Texaco meaning just me to folks in my neighborhood. Well, after I was over to Ned Billings' store that day and realized that all them magazine ads and billboards and radio programs actually reached every family in my neighborhood, it suddenly come to me that all that advertising could be my advertising. Just as much mine as though I hired Fred Allen myself to entertain my neighbors. Just as much as though I wrote them ads and put them out myself for my neighbors to read. That's what Mac did. Remember him in that moving picture last year? Mac started from scratch with just a dump of a place nobody'd stop at. He built up a pretty fine station with a lot of good customers. They didn't all come rushing in the minute he hung up a Texaco sign. Not by a long shot. Some of them did, sure. But the rest of the customers he got came because he did everything he could to tie in with the advertising. He printed up handbills with his name and location on them. Gave them out all around his neighborhood. Remember? And he sent out Texaco mailing pieces with his own name and address printed on them. And he went around and asked folks to trade with him. Folks who were sold by Texaco advertising, but just hanging fire. He went right out and talked about Marfac and asked folks to let him Marfac their car at his station. Well, fellas, when I finally woke up, I decided to do the same thing. I went after my folks in the same way. Made those Texaco ads my ads. Made 'em mean me. And I got me dozens of customers and hundreds of dollars that was just hanging fire in my neighborhood. So, brother, you're looking at one feller who's maybe going to be just a little bit hoggish about it. Because if there's a boom going on and there's a cake being passed around, here's one feller who's going to cut himself a big slice. I'm going after new customers this year twice as heavy, because I know there'll be a lot of folks in my neighborhood with cars that didn't have them before. And there'll be plenty of others who'll trade in their jalopies for good second-hand cars or new ones. And then there'll be folks whose opinion about being satisfied with where they trade will change a lot as their pocketbooks swell a bit. Isn't going to be anybody in my neighborhood being sold by those Texaco ads every week and just hang fire? No, sir. I'm really bearing down this year. Let me show you. Operator, show us some of those mailing pieces and things, will you, please? These here are this year's spring and fall mailing pieces, fellas. About the same as they've been in the past, I'm glad to say. I mean, good selling talk, and all written up in the same lingo and colors as all that advertising I want to hook up with by having my own name signed to it. There's even some new wrinkles now that maybe even gives these an edge over last year. Like this follow-up fall piece being a kind of Christmas card combination. There's the special mailing pieces, too, for any of you fellas who are just switching to Texaco, or taking over a station, or starting a new one. Seems to me if I was just new in a neighborhood, this is the first thing I'd want to do to get the personal benefit of Texaco advertising. And now let me tell you something about the window displays. Remember last fall the advertising theme of danger, cold weather ahead that was put over so swell in all the ads? And remember how we had a window display at the same time that tied right in, using the very same theme and the same pictures and everything? Well, sir, me and so many other fellas was so tickled with that idea of tying right in with the ads while they were running that the Texas folks are going to do that with all the window displays that they can this year. Talk about making the advertising mean me. That's going to be it. I mean, window displays like that will really do the job, because they'll make it possible for me to bring to life, right in my own station, all the very same things that's in the ads. And the Texas folks are making them all up now in two types, for windows like mine that are under 5 feet wide, or for windows that's over 5 feet. But talking about the sizes of windows, let me tell you, I got to figuring lately what my window will do for making the ads my ads, my whole station will do. What is my station to folks? One great big display. You look at it that way, and you'll most likely find like I did. There's a couple of signs and things you ain't been using, and you'll get 'em up quick before any more of this boom year goes by. Or maybe you're forgetting to bring the advertiser to life for you. Those little things that are just between you and your customers. I'm pouring it on them this year, fellas. I got me such a supply of all these things, you'd think I was running a county fair or something. And seeing those road maps reminds me. Calling on people and offering them Texaco's touring service sure gets you in friendly and solid like and makes them your customers. And that's just one more thing that Texaco's got for you and me to use to make all that advertising mean you and me. Get you a lot of customers if you use it right. But getting back to reaching out for new customers, there's one thing that I tried out last year just once, sort of experimental like, and I'm going in for it real heavy this year. This screen advertising the Texas folks has got for us that we can have run off at our local movie house. I tell you, fellas, when your name comes up there on the screen, I mean, it's a thrill. I got so much comment from folks made me feel like a big shot. That there sure made Texaco advertising mean me in my neck of the woods. No mistake about that. Fellas, it's pretty hard to think of one single thing that's profitable in any retailing or service business that Texas people ain't made up and got ready for us to use any time we want them. And on top of that, the stuff that they can't exactly make up, like business building schemes and merchandising ideas, they collect, print them up, send them to us to read every month. But, I don't know what you fellas do with your copy of the Texaco Dealer, but if it ain't dog-eared like mine from reading over and over, maybe you've overlooked one of those things that put money in the bank for, well, maybe fellas sitting right next to you, because that's where the ideas come from. Fellas like you and me who think 'em up, try 'em out, get money out of 'em. Let me give you a tip. Make this boom year the readingest, try-outingest year of your whole life in the business. Texaco people are doing all they can for us and more. But all that advertising, all that you saw, that can't do the job alone. No, sir. It's up to you and me to put it to work. Work for us. So make that Texaco advertising your advertising. Make it mean you to folks. And I promise you, you'll have a swell feeling. Especially round the pocket.